There is a price the store charges you, and there is a higher price your brain will quietly agree to pay. They are not the same number, and the thing that decides which one you see is sitting in your pocket right now. Here, watch. Same person, same shop, same $40 shirt. In the first version, they pay with $20 bills, counted out by hand. In the second, they tap a card. Nothing else changes. Not the shirt, not the day, not the bank balance. And yet, across decades of research, the same results keep coming back. The person tapping the card will happily spend more, not a little more, sometimes double, for the exact same shirt. They're not richer, they didn't decide to. At the moment of payment, their brain is simply running different software, and the card installed it. This isn't weak willpower, and it isn't an accident. It was designed. And by the end of this video, you will never tap a card the same way again. Now, that's a big claim, that a piece of plastic can move what you're willing to pay. So let's not take it on faith. Let's look at the experiment that proved it. Because it's one of the sneakiest, cleanest tests in history of behavioral economics. Back in 2001, two MIT researchers, Drazen Prelek and Duncan Semester, got their hands on something people genuinely wanted. Tickets to a sold-out Boston Celtics game. Real seats. Real fan who actually wanted to go. They held a sealed auction. Everyone writes their best bid in secret. Highest bid wins. Simple. But there was a hidden split running underneath it. Half the bidders were quietly told that if they won, they'd have to pay in cash. The other half were told they'd pay by credit card. That was the only difference. Same tickets, same game, same auction, same crowd. The only thing that changed was the method of payment waiting at the finish line. You can guess which group bid higher. What you cannot guess is by how much. The credit card group didn't edge ahead by 10 or 20%. On average, they bid roughly twice as much as the cash group, double the money, for the identical pair of seats. Same butts, same chairs, same final score. The researchers gave the paper a title that says everything in 4 words. They called it, "Always Leave Home Without It." Flipping the old credit card slogan on its head, sit with what that actually means. The card gave those bidders no extra money. It made the ticket no better. All it changed was how much paying would hurt, and that one change doubled what they were willing to lose. So the real question becomes simple and little unsettling. What exactly is a card switching off inside you? The answer has a name, and it sounds almost too plain to be powerful. The pain of paying. And the word pain is not poetic license. When you hand over real cash, notes you can feel, that you have physically count into someone else's hand, your brain registers a small, genuine sting of loss. You watch the money go. You feel the wallet get lighter. For a fraction of a second, it actually stings a little. And that sting is not a bug, it's a break. It's the reason a street vendor can hype you up about something for 5 minutes. But the instant you're peeling actual bills off a stack and laying them in his palm, you suddenly hesitate. You feel the weight of it. The cash makes the cost real. And the realness hurts just enough to wake up the part of you that asks, wait, do I actually want this? A card quietly removes that break. You count nothing. Nothing leaves your hand. The card touches the reader and comes right back to you. Warm, still yours. The real loss, the part where money actually drains out of your account, gets shoved weeks into the future, onto a statement you'll skim for 10 seconds and feel nothing about. One researcher described it perfectly. Paying by card is like swallowing an aspirin before pain even arrives. The purchase and the payment get torn apart in time, and your brain, which is not as clever as it thinks, files them as two unrelated events. One is pure pleasure, right now. The other is a dull ache, later, that it never quite connects back to this shirt, this dinner, this thing you did not need. That's why cash feels strict and a card feels generous. The numbers are identical. The only difference is whether you have to attend the funeral of your money or get to skip it. For years, that was the whole theory. A card simply removes the pain. It lifts the brake. Clean, tidy. Probably true. But in 2021, a team decided that wasn't good enough. They wanted to actually watch it happen. So they put volunteers inside an fMRI scanner, a machine that shows which parts of the brain switch on in real time. And they let them buy real products with real money, paying either by cash or by card. And what lit up on those scans turned the tidy theory into something stranger. Cards don't only lift the brake, they also press the gas. When people paid by card, a structure deep in the brain called striatum flared to life. A core piece of the reward system, the circuitry behind craving, wanting, the anticipation of pleasure. When the same people paid in cash, the reward region stayed comparatively quiet. The card wasn't just making the payment painless. The very act of reaching for it was firing off a small pulse of reward. And here's the line that should make you sit up. The researchers pointed out that these are the same reward regions seen lighting up in studies of powerfully addictive drugs, substances like cocaine and amphetamines. Now, nobody's claiming your debit card is as strong as a narcotic, and the researchers were careful to say so. But the underlying machinery it leans on is, in part, the same machinery. So a card runs two plays at once. It numbs the pain of letting money go, and it quietly tickles the circuit that makes you want to do it again. Brake off, gas on. Do that a few thousand times over a few years, and something subtle happens. Your brain starts pairing the simple act of reaching for plastic with a faint hit of pleasure. The card stops being a tool you use. It becomes a cue you respond to. Now, take that one idea. Pain is bad for selling, so remove the pain and hold it up against the last 20 years of how we pay. Because the moment you understand the pain of paying, the whole history of payment technology stops looking like a story about convenience. It starts looking like a long, patient operation to find that break in your brain and quietly cut the cable. One snip at a time. Cash hurt the most. You count it, you hand it over, you watch it go. So first came the swipe. Faster, no counting, though you still pulled the card out and watched it disappear into the machine for a second. Then they sanded off even that. Tap to pay. The card barely grazes the reader. Half a second, no insertion, no wait. Then the card itself vanished into your phone. So now you settle the bill with the exact same glowing object you use for every pleasurable thing in your life. Then one-click ordering. The purchase shrinks to a single tap and the thing simply materializes at your door. The payment's so invisible you half forget it happened. And then, most recently, buy now, pay later. The pain of paying taken to its final form. You get the object today, and the egg is sliced into 4 tidy little future payments your brain is delighted to pretend aren't real money at all. Line them up, and the trend is impossible to miss. Every single step moves in one direction, making the goodbye to your money smaller, softer, blurrier, further away. Not one of those was built to help you spend less. They couldn't be. The entire industry on the other side of the counter only makes money when you spend more. One of those MIT researchers put the warning plainly. As we slide towards the cashless world, the simple act of holding your phone could quietly become a trigger to spend. The brake isn't just being lifted anymore. It's being engineered out of existence. So what do you do with all this? Not go back to paying for everything in cash. Nobody's doing that. And you don't need to. The goal was never to make you afraid of your own card. It's something quieter and more powerful than fear. It's that a trick you can see has already lost most of its grip on you. The card only worked in the dark. You just turned the light on. And if you want to push back a little harder, the move is almost funny in how simple it is. Put the pain back in, on purpose. Plenty of people pay in cash specifically for the categories where they bleed money. Eating out, clothes, the late night impulse buys. Precisely because counting the notes forces them to feel it again. Others don't carry cash at all. They just build in 1/2 second of friction. They pause before the tap. They picture the actual money leaving. They say the real number to themselves. Not tap, but $38 gone. They attend the funeral, just for a moment. The tiny scrap of friction, the exact thing $100 billion of payment technology has spent 2 decades trying to erase, is the entire difference. You're simply choosing to feel the goodbye they engineered you to skip. The machine isn't evil. It's just optimized, built with the enormous care to make wanting effortless and paying painless. And the one thing it cannot survive is you paying attention. So the next time your thumb hovers over that reader, you'll remember this. And for half a second, the money will feel real again. That half second is yours. Spend it well. I'll see you in the next one.